What's going on, YouTubes? Time for recap. So, as we came into the X here, we had a couple different little posts here. We had some beautiful trade setups this morning on the SPY, and it was short bias on under 588.62, which is my old target for the 3-3 daily candle. That is the 50 fib. It comes from 3-3. And we already hit these GPs, but we're just kind of grinding up to our final targets above 591 and 593 on SPY, but we need to relax a little bit. So I think under 588.62 would be our target one right here, which is the pre-market open purple line, and target two short for me, 61.8, which is just the golden fibs that we always use. So we posted that one up this morning. Had a couple of really nice short calls here, called the short on these anchor view apps, really nice. In the Discord here as well before it happened there, 21339 short entry, showing some gas. Awesome stuff. And then, of course, just a repost. So in the Discord today, we did have a lot of different little plays. This is kind of what the Discord looks like. Once in a great while, we hop in and show you. Had some really big express kills here. Excuse me. $1,500 scalps, just a lot of really good stuff happening on the expresses. We ended up right around 5K again today on Top Step. We have a couple other funded accounts I go with, so I don't know, 7-8 grand, I don't know what it was, but regardless, we're doing pretty good, and the Discord's awesome. Let's get into it. So the early morning short bias, okay? And now the pink fibs that you're going to see on here, there we go. There we go. All right. Those are from 3-3 daily chart. If you watched, I don't know, the last 16 videos I put out on the swing, I have long targets up here just under 593, but we were calling this after the wash from Liberty Day support was found. We said she was going to come all the way back to 590, so we'll see you there. So we did hit our long target, massive swing to the top side. And that's where we get those pink Fibonacci's from. So not to be confused with the gold. The gold is still high-low of yesterday. So this is yesterday's highs, yesterday's lows, golden GP. Noticing the 3-3 pink fib and the golden fib of today overlap. So let's talk about it. Now, under yesterday's highs, as my note from my group said, says long only if trending above yesterday's high. Only if it's trending above. That's the only time I could care about a long on SPY. Everything was short bias on, like I showed you guys early in the video, 588.62 and under. Target 1 short ES, target 2 short, and you guessed it, the big target 3 clicked in today at the 50 fib. Now, it reversed immediately off that first tag, which it usually does because we focus a lot on algorithm first tags. Now, we had a really choppy, boring... Oh, the color randomly changed. Okay. We had a really crappy, watching paint dry. Oh, excuse me. Kind of morning session. And that's where we make usually a lot of our trades. But if we back up and we realize that CPI was yesterday, there's always a hunch for that. The CPI, the price action before CPI, right? Always dead, very boring. And then CPI hits, then it does something. CPI makes a move, either long, short, whatever it happens to be. And then the next day is usually digestion. It really just kind of stops in its tracks. So we didn't really have a progression for a really big day, long or short, but we did have a couple of really good calls. We said short anything under the VWAP. Target 1 was 8 or 9 points. Target 2 is, I think, 15 or 16 on ES, and then target 2 is 23. Yeah, so altogether, our opening morning short calls worked out perfectly fine for our 8K green. Now, I'll give you a key little hint from today, because I'm not going to spend too much time. It's pretty self-explanatory on the trades on that one for where the fibs came from. Anything under highs, we go to GP, right? But let's take a peek at the bigger kind of setups here, or not bigger, the bigger catalyst, not the setup, and that's the volatility index, okay, the VIX. Now, I was very adamant on VIX finding support today at $18.10, okay? That's the opening price. That's a nice half hole. We also have some... Let's go daily chart here. Some opportunity to find support temporary here nearing a higher low double bottom. So when these bigger daily markers come from, we were kind of spoiled with that volatility index up here in the 50s, 60s, getting those big ranges. And it broke out from, right around that mid 18, 17. Adjust this a little bit here. We are coming back down into that zone again. Right, so that volatility index here coming into 18.5, 19, so on and so forth, that's going to be grounds for at least a green candle. We haven't really seen too many of those. We're on a gap and go to the downside right now, and we did find a little bit of that support prior day as well. So right in that low 18s, we do have a close that is also support, which is obviously yesterday's close, white dash line right here on VIX. And then we had a couple gaps. So the opening morning short, we had a big press up. We actually played both ways. It's kind of cool. So let me show you the VIX here. The gap right here in the 5-minute. This is one of the most important things that we had traded. We seen it hold above our level that we needed it to hold, which we called 1810. And then if it started to break up over the 100 EMA, we were going to get that knee-jerk reaction down. Well, it wasn't until way later at that 10 a.m. where the VIX finally started picking up a little bit of volatility. And again, we keep saying on stream, the VIX has been dead. We have been spoiled into the mid-20s for quite some time, 30, 40, 50, with that big range of the market, allowing us to get those fancy scalps of hundreds of points. We're not going to get that anymore until a big news catalyst. So these gaps and these minors like the 100 EMA and 1810 opening price, that's all we got to work with. So we got to be very careful with the VIX because the follow through to the downside is very lackluster because the VIX is so low now, right? There's no fear. So following through down, right, is very minimal. But we did need that CPI chop day. And on that gap and go right here, we did plan for the long back up to structure fail. So let me just break that down for the last piece of this video. The VIX opened up, broke through the 100 EMA, created a very large gap. Now this is the key here, large gap. If I stretch it out, you can see a gap over here, sliver, right? Not that big. Gap over here, small, medium. Gap over here, small, medium. Those all look so-so, right? Then you take a look at this guy. Generally, intraday gaps like this with no data, okay? Remember this, no data, no CPI, no jobs report, no nothing crazy, just regular TH, regular movement. Creating a gap like that is extremely rare. So when we broke out to the upside and started pushing into high a day on VIX up here, and then I noticed we couldn't hold that 10 SMA right around 9:15, 9:30. So that's when I was like, okay, just kind of be careful here because if the VIX comes down to fill that gap right away, which it should, it has to go under that 10 SMA, come down, and it will find support at the 100 EMA and the gap. So we went over this many times today, and this is called confirmation trading. The price action of the VIX opens up, breaks over the 100 EMA, creates a giant gap, stalls out, breaks a little mini structure, lower high, comes down to the gap, and the 100 EMA finds support. So anybody that tells you you can't do technical analysis on the VIX, you tell them they're a silly goose. And then when it comes into that, this is where we see in that 9:15, 9:30 pop, and we just were not coming down. Now, mixed with what we just told you on the volatility index, breaking through the 100, gap and go, strong upside move, notice that the market was hitting major support, okay? Our T2 short target, and this is a first tag of yesterday's golden pocket. So yesterday's high-low, the GP is 586.70, which means when price action bumped into that, we would have an opportunity to come back up. And then, of course, the VIX came down to fill that gap, 9:15, 9:20, 9:30. That's where we got a little peak in the highs, right? And then it came down, right? And what did it do? Strong move, right? Big candle up once it found support at the gap and the 100 EMA. Notice the inverse of the market getting slapped at 10 a.m., okay? So that was a really big leading indicator for me outside of the magnets I usually use. So magnets obviously being the Fibonacci, which are my favorite. And that was our golden setup today because on the SPY, as long as we were under yesterday's highs in our golden fib, we generally have a very good chance to come down to the golden pocket. If we are outside of those yesterday's highs fibs, we're going usually for extensions, right? So we would have been way up here, kind of like we did on CPI. So that's about it. Small, quick trade day, very choppy. We still made it out alive green. Tomorrow should be a little better. And again, if you want to see me do this live, tune into the live streams with us on Discord and our huge community we have of amazing traders. The link is in the description. Come join us. If you want to win some giveaways, coming up this Saturday, we give away cold hard cash. Once in a while, Sundays, if I don't have it on the internet here, once in a while it dies on me, but we give away top step accounts or just cold hard cash. All you got to do is subscribe, give the video a like, and make sure you comment because I use a random comment picker. Doesn't matter what you comment, but I will pick you out of the crowd of the random. All you got to do is comment, make sure you subscribe, win some money on Saturday. All right, guys, we'll see you then. Take care.